Blaze the doja, grab your loved ones and bring them closer. Extra, extra, read the poster, the KKP is taking over. Sleeping on me, better smell the Folgers. I've been razor sharp since the Motorola. Off of O, like the cover of Oprah. Popping bottles, feet all in the sofa. It's a celebration, though the times is hard. It's raining blessings, give it up to God. Chaotic culture, the greatest pod. With Ked the Pro, the one in charge. But it's a celebration, times is hard. It's raining blessings, give it up to God. Chaotic culture, the greatest pod. With Ked the Pro, the one in charge.
We're living in a chaotic culture. 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 Oh, we're living in a chaotic culture. 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 Oh, we're living in a chaotic culture. 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 Oh, we're living in a chaotic culture. We're living in a chaotic culture. We're living in a chaotic culture. We're living in a chaotic culture.
So, another season is upon us, ladies and gentlemen. It's been about a month since you last heard from me, so I thought I'd give you a little teaser before the actual season starts. For those who have never listened to the Chaotic Culture Podcast before, allow me to introduce to you the Chaotic Culture Podcast, the pod where chaos rules and black culture is elevated and embraced and supreme. That's a whole lot. But we're going to keep it short to elevated and supreme. So, with that in mind, I am Ked the Pro. I am the host, the founder, the creator of Chaotic Culture. I'm not going to do my entire intro because I will save that for the other episodes that we have. The prologue is usually just a teaser, to really get the season started in the high gear and to prep the listeners for when we actually do officially return, which will actually be pretty soon. If you are on the Twitter or X platform, whatever, then we will have a live episode that will be going live this Friday, September 8th? Yep, September 8th at 8 p.m. on X Spaces or Twitter Spaces, whatever you want to call it. Elon is trash, but yeah. And from there, we will have a episode where we will do the Sweet 16 of our hip hop groups tournament of 3 members of more. So if you have been paying attention to the timeline, of course, there is a tournament going on as part of our music roundtable series, in which case we discuss, or we are voting on, the top hip hop groups of all time. Now, of course, I have limited it to 32 in the main tournament. We did a one before that was like 16 underrated hip-hop groups, and Hot Boys won that one, go figure. And a lot of people may say, well, Hot Boys isn't really an underrated group, but in my opinion, they are, because they could have been a lot bigger than what they were. You have 4 of the greats on there. Speaking of which, BG just got out of jail, so big shout out to that. But you had BG, you had Turk, you of course had Juvie, and then of course you had Wheezy. And the group really did not go as far as it could have. There was a lot of potential in that specific group, and it just didn't go anywhere. Why? Mainly because Cash Money wasn't paying their fault. That's really all that it boils down to. It's probably more under that, but the main reason is that Cash Money wasn't paying these boys. But Lil Wayne didn't know that. Because, Lil Wayne stayed with Birdman all up until just a few years ago, for real, up until like the 2010s when you realized, hey, they was right. Birdman really was not paying me the way that he should be. So, yeah. But that is who won the tournament for underrated hip-hop groups. So, now we're going to be doing the Sweet 16, and yeah. Hopefully, it will turn out really good or, chaotic. That's kind of how we like it. But in any case, guys, I hope that you've been doing well. I hope that your energy has been replenished. I hope that you all had a nice Labor Day weekend. I hope that you all have had a great summer. I hope that everybody got a chance to visit family, to go outside. But be careful outside, of course, because that new COVID variant is out there. So just be careful. I hope everybody got a chance to enjoy family, friends, spend time with loved ones. I hope that you went on many, many, many adventures, whether it was around the United States or around the world. I hope that you've had some new experiences. I hope that you've met new people, made new friends, built new relationships, be it platonic or in love. And I hope that you have had the opportunity to grow during this time away and during this summer. I've had a lot of things that have happened, not since we last talked, but just in general. I've realized that it's okay to not be okay. And I know that I've said that multiple times, but sometimes I have to remind myself that it's okay to grieve, and it's okay to have these feelings, and it's okay to feel heartbreak. I have been struggling with the grieving part for a minute, but I've been dealing with the heartbreak part for even longer than that. And I hope that it doesn't affect me from being able to eventually find, the one that will, that I'll fall in love with and that I get to spend the rest of my life with. But I really don't like talking personal notes, but that's kind of what it is right now. Sometimes you know what the next step is, but it's really a different conversation as far as taking that step versus knowing what the step is. For me, I've started taking steps, but it's still difficult. It is really, really difficult because this is a sort of pain that I don't think I've ever experienced. I don't know what others have felt, and you can always share how you've been feeling, but I know for me, I've never lost family members like this. And it's really a lot to take in. I've also have never seen family infighting like this. And I'm not going to put my family's business out there. That's an absolute no-no. But still, it really, really affects me. And sometimes it's just difficult. And I didn't expect it to be this difficult. I guess when you're a kid and when you're a teen, you don't really think about these things or how it could possibly affect you. But when you're an adult and you actually start to see things happening in your family and you see the cracks form and you see certain parts of your family just fall completely apart, and then those cracks start to affect you because it's kind of directly tied to you, that is a whole different monstrosity that I don't really want to wish on anybody, but I know that people everywhere will feel that regardless. Man, I really, really wish I could tell y'all just exactly, what I'm going through and how I feel, but I think a lot of you know. But all I ask is that you keep my family in prayer and you keep me in prayer. God does not put burdens on that I cannot bear. And I've always lived by the mantra of no weapon formed against me shall prosper, and it will not. But as it says, it didn't say the weapons wouldn't form, just that they wouldn't prosper. So I will continue to bear those burdens and fight against those weapons until the Lord sees and directs me on the path that I should be on. And I hope that it's a path that I can see. And even if I cannot see it, I still trust in Him to make sure that I'm guided in the right way. So, with that being said, I know that there is a lot that had happened within the last month. Obviously, with us being, geared towards music, we gotta say rest in peace to Magoo from the duo Timbaland and Magoo. If you don't know who Magoo is, please look him up. Part of the Super Friends crew with Timbaland, Magoo, Missy, Aaliyah, Genuine, and all of other Timbaland's associates. It was really, really hard seeing that because Magoo actually lived in our area. I live in the 757. Magoo was out here. Was living somewhere either in Williamsburg or Suffolk. I can't remember which one, but he would stay between Suffolk and Williamsburg. And from what I'm told, of course, he was a real estate agent out in Norfolk, so he was still a well-known cat. he didn't rap anymore, or he wasn't in the music business anymore, but the man was still, still has a family and was still, in my eyes, an icon and a legend. Now, granted, you may not see him as the best lyrical rapper, which, honestly, if we're being 100% honest, he was not. But his charisma, his cadence, his rap voice, his energy, that really, really is what made the duo Timbaland and Magoo so popular, at least for the album that, got the sales that it did, their first album. The second and third one should have definitely got more, but that's neither here nor there. Still, rest in peace to Magoo. Now, also for those of us who were fans of rock, y'all know that Steve Harwell has passed away, and for those who don't know who that is, he is the lead singer of Smash Mouth. And y'all already know who Smash Mouth is. If you don't, just watch the beginning of Shrek. And really, that song was out before the movie Shrek had got popular or even came out, but still, that's the best way to, get your friends who have not heard that song. If you have not heard All Star, I mean, what are you doing with your life? Come on, man. Still, go listen to it. But still, rest in peace to Steve Harwell. Apparently, he had some substance abuse, and they said that he passed away because his liver failed. So, yeah, just rest in peace to him, and definitely shout out to the band. I know that his bandmates are probably really, really feeling it right now, but still, to pass away at 50 and 56 respectively, that is still very, very young. And you think that they would have at least 20 or 30 more years to live on this earth, but they've gone. And I hate to stick on the subject of death, but obviously, for those of us who are wrestling fans, we lost Terry Funk and we lost Bray Wyatt. And that death definitely shook me to the core because I was a Bray Wyatt fan. And to see that he is no longer here with us, and he's one of the most creative minds that WWE had ever laid hands on, it really, really just boggles the mind. And so I don't even know how to describe exactly how I was feeling, but I just know that it was just of immense sadness and really and truly just, I honestly really just can't put it into words, for real. When you're a wrestling fan and you see your idols pass on, it's kind of like, dang. Well, now what? What's going to happen next? What can happen next? Well, regardless of that fact, I'm still glad that we got a chance to experience someone like Bray Wyatt, and Terry Funk is an absolute legend in the wrestling business, and he lived until 79, so it wasn't as long as he could have lived, but it was still a very fulfilling life. Bray Wyatt was cut short at 36. That's really, really hard to digest. So rest in peace to those two absolute legends, to Terry Funk and to Bray Wyatt. Now, NFL is coming back. College football is already back. So for our football fans, you already know what time it is. Time for your fantasy football leagues. Time for you to sit and be disappointed in these college rankings. And also time for you to be disappointed that your team did not make the NFL playoffs once again. Y'all already know who I'm talking about. And it's also disappointing, or it's also time to be disappointed again for your teams to not make the Super Bowl, despite the fact that your team may have 5 or 6 Super Bowls. I'm looking at you, Cowboys fans. Anyway, and yes, I know my Steelers have not had a Super Bowl since 2009. Big whoop. I'm good. I still will cheer the Steelers no matter what, just like y'all will still cheer y'all Cowboys fans. Just like you Cowboys fans will still cheer on the Cowboys come hell or high water. Only difference is the last time the Cowboys won a championship, I was 4. At least my Steelers won when I was about to be 18. I'm just saying. But in any case, yeah, it's that time of year again where the weather starts to cool off and homecoming seasons come along, and of course you got the state and county fairs that pop up around. And for those of you who like pumpkin spice, your favorite flavor is back. Disgusting, you're gross, but for those who like it, I mean, it's all yours, because I ain't gonna drink none. Yeah, you will not catch me having no daggone pumpkin spice. I'm sorry, that is not my steez. But yep, it's that time of year again. I can't wait for homecoming, which will happen on October 28th for us Hamptonians. It is my 10th year anniversary. That's crazy saying that. It's been 10 years since I graduated college with my bachelor's. Wow. Like, I don't know about y'all, but wow. Really? It's been 10 years? That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. And I know time ain't gonna wait for nobody, but that's still just, that's insane to me. That is absolutely insane. I can remember when I was 22. I remember what I was doing. Like, and it just seems like when you're 22 and you remember when you were 12 years old, you were like, well, that seemed like such a long time ago. But from 32 to 22, you're like, wait a minute, that really wasn't that long ago, but yet it happened so fast. So, and a lot happened in 10 years, but still, it really just boggles the mind how time operates, especially as you get older. Boy, 10 years from now, when I'm in my 40s, I'm going to look at this like, yo, what happened? And I just hope that I don't live my life with regrets. That's really all that I can ask for. So I hope that when I look back 10 years from now, that I can say that in my 30s, I made change, or I changed my career, or I lived life to the fullest, and still got plenty of years to go from there. So, but in looking at that, let me tell you guys, 30 is different. Being in your 30s is different because my friends and I were talking in our group chat, and we did not realize just how different the body anatomy is when you get to a certain age, because things hurt longer. Listen, I twisted my ankle in January, and it's just now getting better, and I still have to stretch it. And it may be because of different compounding injuries that I've had in the past, like when I was in high school and college. But now I feel it. Like, I even step on my ankle wrong, my body's just like, whoa, what was that? And it immediately starts hurting. Please take care of your body, guys. Stretch while you can. If you are under the age of 30, please be sure that you stretch now. And if you are over the age of 30, stretch even more. So that's really all that I can say that pertains to that. So with season 5 approaching, we got to lay some things down for those who've never listened before. So one thing that I want to do is do more Twitter Spaces, or X Spaces. I'm sorry, I'm going to call it Twitter because Elon is trash. But still, when it comes down to doing Spaces, we're definitely going to try to do more. I'm going to try to aim to do one once a month. That is the goal. It may not be, feasible. We'll see how schedules align. We'll see how time works. But the goal is to try and do one a month. Speaking of which, we also still have Patreon content. We are also going to be building our Patreon content. There are going to be real life bonus episodes that are had on Patreon that you can get only exclusively at Patreon. As of right now, all the video podcasts are on Patreon. So if you want to see our bright and smiling faces, you got to go to Patreon. But if not, if you're okay with listening to us on whatever streaming platform that you use, then by all means, keep listening. But if you do, please be sure that you give us a 5-star review on Apple Music and Give us 5 stars on Spotify. I'm serious. Do that right now. Like, not now, but right now. Write a review, even if you say these guys are great. That's all that we need. That is all that we need. Help with that algorithm, man. Help this podcast achieve greatness. Next, with the Patreon content, of course, I am going to be building a Discord. Now, there are going to be 2 different sides of the Discord. There's going to be one side where, of course, the Patreon exclusive content will be for those who have joined the Patreon. Whereas there's going to be another side of Discord where, of course, we will keep it to those who are, community based and want to join in on our community, whether we talk games, whether we talk music, especially music, and whether we talk about our community and our outreach, as well as if there are any people that we want to highlight. We want to be sure that we keep those people promoted and just talk about whatever y'all want to talk about. I want to be sure that I continue building this community. I have a very strong community within the anime community, but I also want to branch out to others as well who are interested in other things. So whether you're interested in music, whether you're interested into community work, whether you're interested in building your black business, this is going to be a space for you as well. Or whether you're just a content creator, it doesn't have to be games or anything. Maybe you just like making videos on TikTok. Maybe you like making videos on YouTube. Maybe you like doing reaction videos. I want to be able to be sure I build that space for all of us. So that's going to be coming along with Season 5. It's not here yet. The Discord will be available before the year is up, though. So I also need y'all to hold me to that as well, because, listen, I'm quick to forget a lot of things. I write them down, but sometimes I forget. I'm sorry. Blame it on my head, not my heart. I have good intentions, but there are times where I will forget to do something. And sometimes, it's not on purpose. It's just literally that my mind is running a mile a minute. And somebody has to remind me, hey, did you do this? Oh, wait, I forgot. Damn, let me go ahead and take care of that. My boss gets on me about that all the time. Again, it's not on purpose. It's just sometimes, again, I just need to be reminded to do things because I'm literally running back and forth. And in my head, I've got about 1 million thoughts that I'm trying to get out on wax. So, yeah. Not only do we want to do these spaces, once a month, I want to try and have separate music roundtables. Again, we are going to continue that series. That's our bread and butter, man. Like, we're going to continue that music roundtable. We're going to talk about these people's art. We're going to talk about, we're going to talk about discographies. We're going to talk about songs, new artists that we're discovering. That series is definitely going to continue to go strong. We're also going to try to have more guests on this pod. That is the main thing, is we want to have more guests, and not just those in the anime community, but also outside the community as well. As y'all know, with Season 1, I did a whole lot of guest features for those who were in my community, whether they were doing music or whether they were just from Hampton. And these past couple seasons, I've branched out to more who were in the anime community, so that way we could have more of those content creators on this platform. But that means that I'm going to be doing bigger and better things as well. I'm going to be reaching out to some bigger names as well. Who else would I get on the pod? Well, we'll see. And I hope that you'll be able to stick around and see for yourself as well. So please be sure that you stay tuned for that, because I've got some big ambitions. And it starts with you just tuning in and listening. The more that you tune in, the more that you get your friends to tune in, then the more that this pod can grow. And subscribe to the Patreon, please. Also, I'm going to do a better job, of course, of making sure that I let, shout out my Patreon subscribers. So first and foremost, shout out Danny, a.k.a. Double O. Shout out Inside the Mind of a Blurred. Shout out to Bo, a.k.a. Bo Done Did It. And shout out to, well, I can't shout out myself, obviously. Of course, I'm a Patreon subscriber. But I also have, my mom is trying to become a Patreon subscriber, so I'm going to try to make sure that she gets on, as well as my brother. And a few other people. We're still working. We are still working, still growing. I don't expect Rome to be built in a day. And this podcast damn sure wasn't built in a day. We going on 3.5 years now, so slow and steady wins the race for me. So I'm just going to continue to build and build and build. I'm getting more active on Twitter or X, as you can see. We have crossed the 800 follower threshold, so now the next step is to get to 1,000, and then at that point, we can start applying for some panels. So if you have a friend who loves music and have a friend who is all about black people being uplifted and thriving and succeeding, tell them to check this podcast out. And if you have a friend who loves black geek culture as well, definitely check this out as well. And definitely check out Geek Set. I gotta mention Deuces, man, because Deuces and his team have done such an amazing job with the Geek Set podcast. And that's kind of who I model this podcast after a little bit. So I don't have the technology that they do right now, clearly, but I want to build towards something to that. So big shout out to Geek Set. And I'm going to tag them in this episode so that way they can see, how much their work has influenced my work. And yeah, like they really are a big influence because it's all about blending hip hop culture with geek culture. And that's kind of what this podcast is about, with the exception of we want to highlight those who are, getting started on their journey, whether it's content creating or whether it's owning their own business or whether it's doing finances or whether it's just being community outreach or whether it is going out and traveling the world, or if you just like doing anime content, or whether you like doing gaming reviews or playing games or whatever. We once again want to have a space for black people to show off whatever the hell that they're doing. I also promise that I'm going to get some more black business owners back on here. I had a couple in season 1 and season 2. Season 3 and season 4, we kind of took a little bit of a break. But season 5, I'm definitely dedicated to make sure that we get more black-owned businesses back on this pod. Because I want y'all to hear and see who is out here in the community and who is thriving as a black person, black man or black woman, or black trans folk, or to my black non-binary folk. I want the world to see that we not just out here for your entertainment. We're not just out here to shuck and jive. Like, we are out here to build our community, to build ourselves up, and to build generational wealth for our generation and many more to come after that. So, yeah, I think that's all that I have for today. Again, this is just a prologue. It's just a little teaser. And I really hope that my computer has not frozen up on me, because if so, that is very, very tragic, and I do not want to have to record this episode over again. Trust me, that's a lot of work to do, y'all. I'm sorry. Like, this is almost running on 30 minutes, and I'm sitting here like, this thing better not freeze on me. I don't think it has. I think it's just loading up slow, but still, that's just a lot to deal with. Anyway, with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. So, if, again, you have been paying attention, please be sure that you go to patreon.com/chaoticculturepod and subscribe. You can subscribe for $3. You can subscribe for $5, $7, or $10. It don't matter. As long as you subscribe, I appreciate it. You will get exclusive podcast content from me, yours truly, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. With that, also please be sure that you follow the host. You can follow me, K3D the Pro, on all social media. You can follow Miss Nasa on all social media at call me Nasa. You can follow Law at L.JR_96 on Instagram and Law96_ on Twitter/X. You can follow Sappy at Scraps14 on all social media. You can follow Jay at JLeeTrey on all social media. And whenever he decides to stream again, then that'll be his business. But in the meantime, in between time, guys, thank you for joining us for the prologue. There might be a few surprises coming in with season 5 as well. We've been doing this for a while, so just stick around. You'll hear what we got to say. So, yeah, guys, thank you once again for tuning in to the Chaotic Culture Podcast, the season 5 prologue. We will be back with season 5 this Friday at 8 p.m. on X Spaces. If you can't make that, just tune in next Wednesday, and we'll drop the episode on all digital streaming platforms. So you still won't miss it. You just won't be live. But hey, It is what it is. We know that people got lives to live. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. All right, guys. That's my time. Until next time, folks, remember, embrace the culture. Chaos rules. Be blessed. Be safe. God is love. 2 up, 2 down.
Look, it's chaos in these streets, so let's talk about it, please. Let's hold some conversation. You see where I'm coming from. Yes, it's so amazing. Go ahead, get comfortable. You can grab a seat, take a load off your feet. Yeah, welcome to the table. We don't tell no lies over here. This ain't no fable. We just live our lives over here. We ain't no angels. We just shine our light over here. We got the power. We just showing love over here. Cause everybody needs some.